Okay, so this is red-white Angelfire. We've got Swiftblade Vindicator and Virtuoso here as 2-mana double strike creatures that curve really nicely into both Angelfire Ignition and Tajic being able to mentor them. They also work well with Kumano on 1, putting a 1/1 counter on them when we cast them on 2. We've got Aspirant for a little bit of extra pumping as well. And then we've got Stance, God's Willing, and Doggo here as protection. And we've got Ancestral Anger as another pump spell. We've got the Wellspring because our main deck just instantly is Wellspring friendly. Dear Wizards, please delete the companions out of Magic the Gathering. Let's go ahead and pop on into some matches of Explorer with this and see how it goes. All right, chat. Center tab, ranked, best of 3, Explorer, selected the right deck. I believe we have successfully playbladed. That's a good start to this session. Didn't end up in the wrong queue and need to concede the first match. Let the playblade rip. You should rank up if you navigate the playblade correctly, mood. All right, we're off to the races, Chip. I mean, I definitely don't think my aggro deck wants Wandering Emperor in the main. Maybe it could be an okay sideboard card. What's going on, Sutters? Thanks for the almost 3 years. Good morning and welcome back. Going on, Mamad? Speaking of 35 months. Howdy, howdy. It didn't even matter that I didn't hold up Selfless Savior on one chat. They had an exile spell. Big oof. And just for consistency and clarity's sake for those watching at home, this is the paper boomer adjacent format we are playing, so cats are allowed to block here. We just came off of playing Historic where that card has been errata. It has its original printed text here in Explorer still. This is a Pioneer mimicked format, so it can and will get to block our etchings. A nice square number indeed. Multiple of 0, more like multiple of 5. Thanks for the 25 months. Welcome back. Hey, thanks for the support, Dr. Brew. Appreciate it. It's my firstborn and you can't have it. Let the cauldrons hit the board. Let the cauldrons hit the board. Let the cauldrons hit the board. Board is what you're gonna be. Board is what you're gonna be. Cats, 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 cats. I don't know where we went at the end there, Chip. We were okay through the middle of it, I think. If they don't have another removal spell, our Angelfire Ignitions could drag us kicking and screaming across the finish line. The problem is, both of the removal spells they've shown us just, like, don't care about Selfless Savior because they're Exile and Steel. So my honest opinions of the current historic and exploring metagames, I don't know that I've played enough of either of them to really have a strong opinion on them. I will say my opinion on this game is them hitting the claim the firstborn there means we can concede. I played Paper Pioneer for the first time this weekend, and I'm happy to inform everyone that Cat Oven is just as unfun in Paper as it is in Arena. At least in Paper, when they do it to you, you could just, like, change the life totals, right? You don't have to, like, wait for them to tediously pull the cards out and put them back in. At least it's got that going for it. Do I want Rest in Peace? I always go back and forth on Rest in Peace in this matchup. I don't know that I actually want this card. It, like, stops exactly Cap, but, like, we have a bunch of trample to attack through the Cap, right? This isn't a Showdown matchup. I just want to attack them a bunch. Stops a red 1-drop from drawing cards as well. Does it? The dice trigger? It is. Maybe that's good enough. It stops my Angelfire Ignition from flashing back, though. Give me auto yield or give me death, mood. It's got on hippity. Is Stony Silence Pioneer legal? I don't think so. Does anybody know? I don't know the answer to that one, Ophiant. Maybe I'm supposed to go dead. Yeah, this land first is just super wrong. Because this is untapped on 3 regardless. We draw another slow land or fast land. My turn 1 land drop here is just awful. There's something that feels oddly poetic about queuing up with a small creature deck and then immediately queuing in to claim the firstborn, the card that largely made small creature decks unplayable in Magic the Gathering for a long time. Oh. I was really hoping to draw land there so I could do this plus this. Guess I should have been more specific. Rates then, or wait, I just get my thing back? That has to be illegal, chat. Okay, so this gives me 2 draws at an untapped land to kill them? Or they're just conceding. All right, we take those. Sure. Sometimes lucky, chat. A lot of trample double strikes. A way to get through a cat for sure. Two-year YouTube stalker. Well, thanks for taking the time to stop over here on the live side, Walker, and dropping off that Prime. Really appreciate the folks that do that mostly watch on YouTube. Those Prime subs help keep a roof over my head, so thanks for taking a couple minutes out of your day to drop that off. Well, definitely Kumano on 1. God's willing, we're gonna win this match. If I draw an untapped white, I might, yeah, I think I'm actually gonna go tapped land Kumano, and then we're gonna play this so we can hold up a protection spell. Devil is scary. So this is 2/2 by default. Put a counter here, attack for 3. Well, this doesn't exile all their stuff, right? It's only if it was dealt damage by a source I control. So, like, if they just, like, sack the Unlucky Witness, we do still get got by that. Magic Green's been listening to a little bit too much sound to silence, chat. The quiet hum of the nothing as the owls are in our ears. Yeah, hopefully we'll get an announcement this week that tells us what release dates we're getting for things. Would be ideal. Oh, I wonder if they don't realize the hidden text on Kumano here. So this means that they don't get the trigger on this because of the flavor text on here. It does mean that a single sacrifice trigger gets to try and kill this, but I have a God's Willing. But I think it's worth denying them the draw on the Unlucky Witness to, like, let this be a line for them. Go ahead and try and God's Willing here, and then they can sacrifice the blood in response to kill the Aspirant, but then they're not sacrificing a blood to deal extra damage to the etching, so I think we still come out ahead on that exchange. Opponent doesn't seem familiar with the deck they're piloting. Why? What issue have you seen? It's also, I really kind of hate comments like that in general, because like, you don't see the cards in my opponent's hand, and the context of how their sequencing is working out is very different when you have that information versus not. So in general, erring on the side of you don't know that they're making mistakes is probably the correct thing to be doing, rather than assuming that your opponent is bad. Play Vindicator here, and I think I'm going to tapped land this, because this way if I draw Angelfire Ignition next turn, I can Angelfire plus God's Willing, or we can Tajic plus God's Willing. Panda, thanks for the 33 months. Welcome back. Appreciate it. Would you like a 5/5 opponent? Blake said on stream Thursday that the Explorer thing didn't have a date, but sometime soon. Sounds like Watsim. Have it eventually. Got another land shit. How long have we been playing this deck? First match. Game 3. We played a bunch of Historic to start the day. Red-black creativity there. You just have to do this. We're an Angelfire Ignition away from still being in this game. With these God's Willing hanging out. Yeah, even Tajic and Ancestral are both very good here. Obnixilis means we probably need Angelfire, because we need the life gain now. Them forcing a God's Willing out here means that I do get to scry at least. Yeah, I don't know that Tajic cuts it yet. Maybe he does. He mentors it twice. I think that's better than a random. Definitely not gonna have time to cast Wellspring this game. Yes, Tajic prevents this from spell damage, which is nice. Hey, I just supposed to set both those at their dome. I don't know. Their Obnixilises gain them life every time they plus. So, like, killing them has value from that perspective. I think I'm going to have to God's Willing after blocking here, which means we're going to be torched by a removal spell, but it'll give us a scry towards an Angelfire for lethal next turn, which would be nice. Angelfire's not quite lethal, I guess, but it's close. Pretty close. Them firing up Hive would be a reasonable sign for us, because it means that they likely don't have a spell. The problem with this is I have to chump block with Vindicator now. Does Hive is menace? I feel like the audio full dumps out and the matchups that feel bad extra, and then they just feel extra bad. It's like, what if on top of having to play your creature deck and to claim the firstborn, we also just took away all the sound effects? How would that make you feel? All right, we are all done here. Whoop. Let's flip back to the webcam large. We can restart this wonderful quality application. So we can try our second match. Hey, what's going on, Kelly? I am probably going to do some live Unite stuff at the end of the week when we get the new character release. Hopefully we get Balance Batch 2 with Glaceon on the 21st. But there's also daily highlights on the Hooklandia Unite channel there. Have still been going. We've had new stuff up there almost every day for, gosh, probably 7 or 8 months. Yeah, we're going to do Snap every day this week. We're going to play Magic for another hour and a half, depending on how Explorer goes. If we play into a bunch of Cat Oven, we're going to get to Snap sooner rather than later. If we get some quality games of Magic in, we'll play Explorer for another 90 minutes or so, and then we'll switch over to Snapping. Quasicotal, thanks for the 28. What needs a balance in Unite? Mostly the supports. Eldegoss could probably use a buff, and then Hoopa and Blissey almost assuredly need nerfs. One, I really don't like playing music on my stream outside of the game music because lots of people have lots of different tastes in music and you chase people away by adding music to your stream. And two, logistically, it's not just about having permission to have licensed music. Just because you have a license to play music on a broadcast platform like Twitch and YouTube doesn't mean that you don't also have to deal with the logistics of people filing false copyright claims against you. So it's bad. It's bad for viewer retention, and it's bad for the number of hours I will have to invest into my content fighting with trolls. It's pretty net negative overall. I'm not even sure if I agree that Absol needs a nerf. I think Absol might be fine in the current patch. I think Absol's kit in general is just good at punishing people that are bad at having map awareness. Which maybe that qualifies as enough of the Unite people that play Unite that it needs to be nerfed. What? Having Shocklands here definitely doesn't feel great in the aggro mirror. New 2-drop was also not particularly great for us. You know, I think I'm gonna Kumano plus tap land here. And then I can God's Willing on a block next turn. And then we can play Tajic with the +1 counter from this is kind of good. Feeling kind of dead? I don't think so at all. Yes, this is great for us, right? Like Angelfire Ignition away from being super in this game. Cleave's a little scary, I guess. Mentor is only an attacking creature, right? So I gotta leave this back on defense. Fervent Champion's kind of punishing for the fact that I attacked with my 2/2. We are dead to a burn spell here, but, you know, that's how it be sometimes. I'm gonna continue attacking because we're dead to a burn spell at any point, so we gotta try to end the game before that happens. We mulliganed to 5. We didn't have a 2-drop on 2. We didn't try Angelfire Ignition. Not really a whole lot to do or say about that game other than be luckier. It's probably pretty bad into their Goblin Chain Whirler. Stance is not particularly great here. These both get, these all get, this makes itself bigger and these get bigger too. Ancestral Anger is probably not super necessary. We'll leave a God's Willing. I'll leave one in as a cantrip. That's true. That mono red player just casts their lethal spells super quickly. I did not realize that was an option. Seems a little land heavy, but this is like kind of a spell, and like Virtuoso and Taric's a pretty solid 2/3, so I think I'm gonna keep this on the play. On the draw, I think I'd mulligan this, looking for one of the many removal spells we boarded in. I think I'm gonna keep this while we're going first. When we're on the draw, this also risks dying to Goblin Chain Whirler before it could do anything. We literally just restarted the client, right? Like before this match. I'm not making that up, right? So Taric's got a lot of text on him, chat, including a pay to give me first strike. So we're gonna chill with him on defense here. Scorching Dragonfire, Bernie Sanders. Tajic gets stumped. Just for my sequencing, they have a 3/3 when they shouldn't. That's a fun interaction. We get to Tajic with Eiganjo up because Tajic is legendary. I'd rather first strike this though, right? We just go to 4 here. Alright, so I can portable hole, hit this, and then I can first strike and Eiganjo this turn. Are we dead to the Den of the Bugbear? I guess we have to do this, unfortunately, right? I just hope to peel Angelfire Ignition. don't think that that's really a good assessment, Kyle. Like, you're watching me sit here and say I have to draw Angelfire Ignition because, like, I'm literally playing against mono red, so I'm hoping to draw my card that gives me lifelink. Whereas, like, when you're playing the Auras deck, you need Staggering Insight literally every matchup, right? So, like, which of our cards are the important ones that we want are going to differ depending on which matchup that we're playing. There's going to be other matchups where other buff or protection spells are much more important than Angelfire Ignition, just because they're not about racing, they're about protecting. Virtuoso here, hold up God's Willing. And then next turn we can Tajic with God's Willing up still. Alright, well now we do that? Or do we do that next turn, actually? Maybe we do that next turn. What problem do we have that you're solving by putting Deafening Clarion in my deck? Can you explain? I'm supposed to keep the Bugbear in my hand for the connive. They had 2 removal spells here, we're probably torched, but maybe they don't. If nothing? Have some kind of black exile spell? Alright, well we trample in chat, so sure, you have some 1/1s. Yeah, but even that's very dependent on the matchup too, Kyle, right? Like, womp womp. At least we have a creature land. We have our creature land. Well, no, they double blocked, right? So they must have done it head trample. Okay, so we're so close to lethal this turn. I'm playing out my Eiganjo because I want to be able to give Tajic first strike while also holding up God's Willing for next turn. Or potentially this turn if they have Fatal Push. I'm gonna bottom that. I think our best draw at this point is any of our 2-mana creatures, so we can Angelfire them for a big swing. This stream is pre-recorded in front of a live audience. Thanks everybody for hanging out today. So they block this, they go to 2. We have Den of the Bugbear hanging out, even if they deal with the Vindicator. You find Explorer. Like, there really aren't good sources for Magic Arena deck lists other than Untapped. And even Untapped for, like, these, for best of 3 formats, they really don't have good data sizes. Like, I frequently click into untap stuff, but they're just like, aren't deck lists there, which is really disappointing. Yeah, you can like look at Pioneer deck lists and like try and adapt them a little bit, but that only goes so far. They don't really have things to destroy from Stance. Twitter, yeah. I mean, like, the problem is, like, so, well, everybody's, the things that you're saying are some places to, like, find random deck lists. You might as well just, like, go post on Reddit or ask at your LGS, like, hey, what are people playing, right? Like, there's no tournaments, right? Like, for people that understand what I'm saying when I'm talking about deck lists, like, playing Magic for decades, you know, you could go look at what was the latest Magic Online League deck list, what were the tournaments the previous weekend, because there's always tournaments for all these other formats, and Arena just doesn't have those same, like, quality sources to get consistent performing lists from, like we've had for boomer formats for forever. It just doesn't really exist on this platform. Ancestral Anger is probably a trim here, right? Like, they have a lot of removal spells, which makes it risky to try and target something with, and they're going to be able to exile it with their what's it called? Just want some removal spells for my last one. Let's put, like, a Scorching Dragonfire here, seems fine. I get all my deck lists from the guy at my LGS that says he played at a PT qualifier that one time. That sounds like a quality source. I need that hookup. Send me the deets. So quiet. All right. Well, with 4 lands, 1 threat, and a protection spell, this is probably a play threat on 3 style game here. Let's Explorer. Explorer is Pioneer at home. It's basically all of the Pioneer legal cards that are currently on Magic Arena. They dropped it as like a placeholder format while we wait to get the rest of Pioneer onto the platform. Hey, what's going on, Lagrange? Hope your vacations went well this summer. Doggo, not nearly as good against Blood Tithe Harvester as far as protection goes. Gonna hold up God's Willing here. Showdown of the Skalds, definitely one of our better cards to have in a matchup like this. Generate some card advantage. I'll take this hit. Should we caught Doggo for Iliad? Nothing is more peak Twitch chat than Twitch chat asking me if I should cut an interactive piece for a card that's better in a different matchup than the one we're currently not playing. Fire is an incredible draw here, since they didn't Blood Tithe last turn. Well, God's Willing still stops Stomp because protection stops you from being targeted. Just FYI. It's come up in multiple matchups, though. Really? Which other matchup? Oh, it would stop Ignition. Yeah, that's a good call. Because it's protection from red. Sure. I'm not restarting the client again because we just restarted it. Maybe we'll kick it after this next one. What if we cut God's Willing for Quinjet? LOL. I think having to hold up a resource for Ayleid is generally bad, which is why I'm playing Selfless Savior instead. Selfless Savior also gives you counterplay against things like Wrath of God or whatever the Day of Judgment of this format is. We're going second shit, I believe. I believe. The first match we played Cat Oven. We played against Cat Oven, but Ayleid's not good against Cat Oven either, because it's a one toughness thing into the face of Mayhem Devils, so. I wouldn't have Selfless Savior or Ayleid in my deck post board in that matchup. They're both bad. I think God's Willing is generally better in this format than Fight is One because of the amount of exile removal that you see in different spots, and they have the same resource efficiency, so it's not the same as Selfless Savior versus Ayleid because this is free to activate. Also, kind of diversifying these effects where we have one that's indestructible and one that's protection has value. For my opponent's turn 3 unassailable board state here. Clench. Long pause into not having it. Lovely. Okay, if we hit the land for Virtuoso next turn for the Angelfire, we might be able to play through. Yeah. Oh, this is gas jet. This might let us play through a Parahelion happening. This is a lot of lifelink. And we have more trample for next turn, plus protection. Okay. Let's go. We are off to the races. Yes, yeah, randomly being able to make yourself unblockable with God's Willing tends to have a lot of value too in a deck like this. I agree with that. Alright, untapped land lets us Angelfire again next turn. Is that lethal? It's 14, right? Ship it. Alright, they could have another one here, right? A fatal push? Nope. Alright. Alright, good shit. Cheerio, mate. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, we were talking about Ayleid versus Doggo. Like, this is a great example of a spot where we're going to be pinched on resources, and that efficiency is huge. All right, so Rest in Peace. Rest in Peace is obviously great here. Abrade and Scorching Dragonfire. The question is, I think we pull Stance out. This can technically kill the boat before it attacks, but I'd much rather just kill the rat. And then what are we trimming? How interactive versus linear do I want to be? This is a little bit of anti-synergy with Rest in Peace, but if we have Rest in Peace in play, we probably can afford for this to not be nearly as good. Maybe just trim Ancestral Anger. Like maybe A God's Willing. I think I like this. That gives us 3 rip and then 4 removal spells. And then plus our linear plan. Of Enfeeblement. Yeah, that's definitely a card that's in the range that they could play for the mirror. Something we're going to want to think about when possible. That's fine. As lands, as 2 threats, as an interactive bit. It's probably going to be a game where we like tap out on 2 for Luminarch because we need to get pressure into play and then we die to the rat in turn 3, but, you know. It's how life be sometimes. Sometimes that's just how it goes. Virtuoso and Angelfire are both standard legal, right? And technically Alchemy legal, but we don't talk about Bruno. They brought in a hearse for the Angelfires. Can't say I blame them. I think we just like Tajic and Smash, right? We have not played Blue-Black Shadow yet. We played what's it called this morning? Red-Black Creativity in Historic. I think we're gonna do Blue-Black Shadow tomorrow to start. Because I'm not taking infinite deck submissions anymore, when we play a deck that's reasonable, we just play it for a longer time. So, decent decks will be like 90 minutes to 2 hours instead of pumping through a new deck every 60 minutes. If we care about the hearse, I feel like I might. I can wait to decide too, though, right? Like, I can just, like, play Luminarch this turn with an untapped land and, like, hold Abrade up and, like, make a decision from there. Okay, or we could just ditch these 2 now. Yeah, I think I like that. No, we just don't care about the hearse. Now that we have a moderately reasonable deck list, can we root it by shoving Feather in at the top? Also, keep in mind, folks, if you're ever wondering, if you missed anything in the morning, we start about 9 a.m. All my decks end up on YouTube after the fact. There's playlists on the front page there for Historic, Alchemy, Explorer, Standard, etc. Great place to catch back up with everything that we poke at here. This could be a game where having access to our moose is pretty good. Worth noting that while our opponent is down to 1 resource in hand, they've got 2 bloods on board to provide some card selection. We don't really have a ton of pressure at the moment, so they're gonna have time to get shorting and potentially find a Perihelion plus a rat. I mean, to be fair, Hearse is such a good piece of graveyard hate because it's not just graveyard hate, right? Like, it's also it's also a card that just like eventually fires up and hits them, right? You missed the last 2 months or so, anything new since then? I've become completely and entirely addicted to Marvel Snap, which we'll be wrapping the stream up with today after we finish playing some Magic. As far as Magic stuff goes, they announced that we're getting 2 anthologies this summer. One focused on Explorer cards, bringing new Pioneer stuff in, and one focused on Historic. Those are the two big ones, I'd say. 2 anthologies for Magic, Marvel Snap for the channel. Thanks for sticking around, Rufio. Good to still have you here. That was not a boat. It's exciting. They sacrificed a blood token here, which means if I put a 1/1 counter on the Aspirant, this can no longer trade with it. I'm excited for Ragavan and Historic. You know what? I've been thinking about it more, and you want kind of a scorching take. I think with Explorer existing on Magic Arena, I would kind of like for them to go nuclear with Historic. I think they should just like give us Ragavan and Lightning Bolt and fetch lands and just like let's get something modern adjacent just fully on the platform, huh? Yeah, just like with a second non-rotating format with the lower power level, just throw it all at the wall and see what sticks. Yeah, Urza Saga, Force of Will, sure, just all of it. Power Knight. I don't know that I'd go. Power might be a little bit too crazy for me. I think that might be a bridge too far. But I think like they've said long term their goal is making Historic modern power level. So I think in that vein, getting all the busted modern cards into it sounds pretty good, right? They won't fix Oko, no way they give us modern. Yeah, that's probably a realistic tick. All right, chat, you know the drill. You gotta look at my giant ugly face in high def here for a moment while I restart the client to get some audio back. We lean back and show you the wonderful Coalescence Apparel shirt again. They're lovely. Check them out for an easy way to support the stream and get some punny Magic related stuff and other themed stuff like that. Let's get some audio for a little bit. All right, chat, someone mark the calendar. I've been attacking and blocking with small creatures for almost an hour in Explorer, and I don't feel like I hate myself. This is good. This is good. Oh, I've talked about the Red Bull can in the background before, chat. So many years ago, when I was part of Tempo Storm, they had Red Bull as a sponsor. And Red Bull, as part of the sponsorship, they're just like a case of Red Bull would show up on my door every month like clockwork, and I couldn't give it away. I don't know how they make money because nobody I talked to wanted this flipping Red Bull. So that can of Red Bull was holding up the Rowlet because it's not very well balanced and it would like tip over. So we use it for stuff like that. I did eventually get rid of most of it. But there's a couple of loose cans around the house that we, like, use to prop shit up with. Oh, man. Doing well, Rotten Agenda. Thanks for the prime. 8 years ago was the Tempo Storm stuff. Gosh, it's got to be close to 3 at this point, right? It's been a bit. That was right at the start when Magic Arena kind of took off. Remember the good old days, chat? When the audio worked and the design of the Magic cards wasn't fire yet? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Red Bull gives you bookheads. It doesn't taste good, it doesn't make you feel good, and it isn't good for you. Yeah, and we had animations for every card, basically. Remember when my uncommons had animations, chat? My mythic rares don't even get animations anymore. It's big sad. I think our hand might be dead to, the 7-6 and the 5-5 here. I mean, I'd assume all of our matchups are bad. Like, that's a pretty peak Twitch shitty thing to be. Like, watching me draw 3 Swiftblade Vindicators and a God's Willing and be like, this matchup doesn't seem very good. I would venture to guess most of our matchups where our draw looks like this don't seem very good. That one seems pretty good, chat. How about we draw that one? Alright, 12-point swing. Your move, Yugi boy. I believe Tempo Storm dropped all of their Magic streamers except Caleb Durward. And I left Tempo Storm even before that because at one point Tempo Storm wanted everyone to run, God, what was it? It was 6 minutes of ads per hour while they streamed on Twitch. And I politely told them to pound sand. Alright, so if they give both of these trample, that's 12 plus, that's 12 plus an extra 4 here plus the tramples, that's 20. I think I need to chump block the Ruinous, because he can't give himself trample. God's Willing here to keep this one alive. Is Snap a reasonable free-to-play game? So their economy is still a work in progress. We're supposed to be getting an update on it this week. But the TLDR is, I think it's an okay free-to-play game, yeah. But their current setup is not 100% final, so... I would like to link some life, opponents. Man, this card just does not... It doesn't seem like a real card in these games yet. It's like, what even is this? All right, 24-point swing. Let's go. All right, I'm actually going to play this land out, because this way if we draw untapped land next turn, we can double Angelfire. Alright, so if I Angelfire this, this is only... If I Angelfire this, I have 16 total. And they currently have 12, 17, 18, 19, 21. So I'm gonna Vindicator plus draw Wellspring here. This is a spot where if we draw God's Willing, it would have been lethal. Okay, so if I Tajic, they chump block Tajic. Tajic mentors onto here. So then this is 4, 5, 6. And then this is 14, so that's 20. And then they have 12, 17, 18, 20 exactly. So I believe Tajic is lethal here. Maybe I should count that again. Just before we shove. So this is 4, 6, 20. This has to block Tajic. And then they have 12, 17, 18, 20. Okay, yeah. I believe this is lethal. Why are you doing the math? Just attack. Alright, alright. Ship it. We played Legends of Runeterra recently. No. The growth metrics for Runeterra unfortunately weren't fantastic, so it's not something I've been doing on stream. All right, so we actually don't really hear. I keep saying Tajic. I am saying Tajic. It's Tajic, whatever. This guy, this idiot, chip. We actually just don't have any sideboard cards for this matchup. I guess Stance is a fine main deck card. It's just a click submit. It feels like big click submit energy, right? Yeah, Tajic is League IP. It's a Runeterra card, a League champion. The fourth God's Willing could be okay. Why do I want Specialist? Like, my opponent, like, literally didn't kill any of my stuff at all that game. This hand is more than good. It's great. Is of lifelink. Chat, did you, like, I know we won that last game because of lifelink, but, like, we won it with lifelink because we were lifelinking in massive chunks. Like a little itty bitty amount of lifelink is not particularly great, I don't think. Do we just giddy up, chat? I think we just giddy up, right? We're mostly just racing in this matchup, right? We're hoping not to get ultimatum this turn off of fight rigging. Okay. And then they're dead to God's Willing. Good chat. Good chat. Man, chat, double strikers. They're a hell of a drug. Why strike just once when you could strike twice instead? My opponent failed the removal check and then they died, you know? There's nothing can be done about it. Oh no, yeah, Angelfire is great. Angelfire is really, really good. Not a super aggressive hand, but like if they're a more interactive deck, this hand is fine. If they're like a creature deck, we can buy time till we find a big payoff. Shock this in and hold this as a potential spell in case we flood a little bit. Yeah, I agree, Lampton. as much as it's correct to call out the things a lot of these companies do as, like, predatory, I think card games inherently are more successful when they do things that keep people playing. It's like when people complain that they hate YouTube clickbait, but all they do is endlessly behave in a way that rewards YouTube clickbait. So it's like, it's hard to be too upset at creators that, like, lean into that because, like, you're silly not to. So, probably a control deck with Jawari Disruption. Well, and I think, honestly, I think part of the other problem is, like, for what Runeterra was, right? Like, when one of the main good things about your game is the economy, like, you don't play the economy, right? So, I think it's almost a red flag when people, the only good thing people often have to say about your game is, well, the economy's really good. It's like, well, the economy being, like, reasonable, like, matters and is helpful, but it shouldn't be the draw to your game, right? It needs to supplement the game, not be the primary feature. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The economy is intellectual. The reason people play games tends to be emotional. That's a really good succinct summary. And say what you will about Magic, good, bad, or otherwise, Magic is a game that's really good at eliciting emotional responses. Magic, good, bad, or otherwise, I almost always walk away from a game of Magic having felt something, chap. And feeling a little bit of something is better than feeling nothing. I think if Snap had Runeterra's economy, it probably wouldn't succeed. I hope Snap makes some changes to their economy, but I think having Runeterra's economy would actively hurt them. It's a pretty good draw with the God's Willing here. It could even be right to Angelfire this. Just to, like, save this in case they have another sweeper. Because they have another sweeper, I'm a little bit on E. I'm basically bottoming anything that's not a threat here. I just want replacement threats if they sweep my board again. And I have Valorous Stance here. And that one gets us through Stance. It's unfortunate. Should Angelfire it, I guess. That's fine. We have Kumano as a follow-up here. Wow, brutal. We're down to 3. I have Moose. It worked out that we did an Angelfire. Turns out. I don't even think it's as simple to say card game players want to brew, so much as card game players want to feel like their deck building choices are impactful, which actually is another one of the reasons why I think Snap is so likely to be successful, is that Snap's 12 card decks make it so basically every time you add a new card to your deck, you quickly feel like the change or decision you made there was impactful to the games that you're playing. And I've actually heard that from the opposite side on Runeterra a lot. A complaint I frequently hear from Runeterra players is that the Runeterra design team over-designs the decks they put into the format. Like, it's a little bit too obvious that, like, this particular deck is what you're supposed to be doing with this group of cards. All right, well, we're both on empty. Okay, I messed up here. I should have waited for them to surveil before I Valorous Stanced. We're both mostly on E. And they're dead. I know, how elaborate on which, Duck Doolittle? Oh, you mean feeling like your card choices are impactful? I think Magic's actually a good example of a game where it's tough to feel like your card choices are impactful, right? Like, think to a time where you're brewing a deck in Magic and you change like 2 to 4 cards in your deck. Think of how many games of Magic you have to play to get a reasonable feel for did those 2 to 4 changes you made in your 75 card deck actually matter? Especially when it comes to sideboard slots, right? You have to play a lot. So being able to quickly feel like the changes you made to your deck were impactful, I think is a huge upside. All right, so it's definitely an extra God's Willing matchup. I want my Extraction Specialist and my Showdowns here. Yeah, I think from a core gameplay loop, Hearthstone has pretty reasonable gameplay in my opinion. It's just, its deck building depth is severely lacking the way their class system works. Yes, that's also, I agree with you, Disposable Heroes. That's why tutors and toolbox cards tend to be really fun in Magic, because you feel like your decisions are very impactful. Because when you add a bullet to your deck, you're like, okay, I have 4 Court of Callings, I have 5 of this new card. This card's pretty bad against removal heavy decks. They're likely to kill it, and then we don't draw our card in response. We'll leave a stance in because it's a protection spell for some of their removal, but it could also kill their God Eternals. Maybe I don't want all the Angelfires. We want the extra stance instead for more protection. This is like fine for randomly hasting things like we did in that last game, but I probably don't want to draw multiple of them in most games. Yeah, the class system in Hearthstone is like if every deck was monocolor, is exactly correct. Okay, so I have 2 Swiftblade Vindicators here, but I think I'm supposed to play a Vindicator out into the chopping block here, because even though they could tap out to kill it right away here, that means they won't be able to hold up a counterspell for my 1 next turn. So if I wait to play this on 3 with protection, it's more susceptible to a counterspell. So I think we jam here, and then we can play this one with protection and go from there. The simultaneous turns in Snap are also really good for letting you feel like you're never sitting on your hands and waiting. Agree with that. How does this compare to the old Feather decks? I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't have a super good memory of what the old Feather decks were doing, so I don't know that I have a good baseline. I think I'm just sitting on this 1 threat for now. Maybe I'm supposed to play this out, I don't know. think I would rather Valorous Stance to protect this because it's the least efficient of my protection spells, and it protects against fewer things. Drawing a creature land here was nice. I kind of like to draw untapped white next turn, so I can, like, Aspirant plus hold up God's Willings, although now we played one of these out, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll take that for now, I think. I want to get a second threat into play here. They go like land Ritualist out here, I'm pretty sad, but they Shadows Verdicted us in the first game, so... God, holy fuck. Magic the Gathering is figuring out which of the 600 different sweepers your opponent could be playing in their control deck is the one you're actually supposed to play around in a given game. It's so annoying. Yeah, like, obviously, if we know this is on the radar, we could, like, play Angelfire to play around it, but it's just, like, impossible to know that, like, that's the one we're playing around. I'm gonna fire up my creature land to, make their counterspell bad here. I guess they have Field of Ruin sitting in play, but I also have, like, another creature land for next turn, right? This thing's land out of my deck, so that's fine. One of the things that's nice about Cry as a sweeper is it exiles Cat. So, you know, it gets rid of that is the big upside that it has over some of the other choices, because it exiles things that went to the graveyard that turn too. So it gives you some counterplay there. Oh, their hand just must be like all counterspells then, right? They have like a Shark Typhoon? Okay, sure. I think I'm gonna God's Willing to save my land from the Shark Typhoon here. Deal. Like a counterspell to back this up with, or I feel like they likely have a counterspell, so I wouldn't be surprised if this gets countered, but we have to get through that at some point anyways. Yeah. A draw to use, pretty good. Do I play this Tajic? I think I want to chill. Because the Tajic gets 1/1 counters next turn, and then they just don't get to use their other 3 mana here. And this coming in with 1/1 counters, they've shown us Heartless Act is in their range of removal spells, so... And we have Virtuoso with Angelfire as a follow-up down the line. And I know it's like this type of gameplay, or like getting counterspell feels kind of bad, but it's just like we don't have discard spells or counterspells on our side, right? So like the only way we get through these things is just by playing through them like this. Contract, thanks for the 20 months. I appreciate the over a year and a half. Welcome back. Yeah, someone runs out of cards eventually. Dark Typhoon's a real good one because it's a card that lets them add to their board that also replaces itself. Contributes to them not being the one to run out of cards. I am not really looking forward to playing against the opponent's archetype when they have access to Dig Through Time. Probably going to be a pretty net negative experience for people trying to play creatures in the format. We've been pretty good about drawing guests so far. Well, I guess we also drew some lands that were just creature lands. Speaking of, opponent's got a Hall of the Storm Giants hiding out down there too. We're probably dead at this point. We're like 1 or 2 more answers away from packing it up, packing it in. Well, I mean, their Shark's gone now. When they don't have a threat or a sustained source of card advantage in play, things look much better for us, obviously. So, again, not particularly exciting, but it's right to just chill here, especially with the God's Willing picked up. Like, we find one of our 2-mana threats, we get to Angelfire it, we get to God's Willing it. We have a real shot to win the game. That even answers the Hall of the Storm Giants down the line, potentially. This happen, and I'm gonna wait and see if they fire up the Hall, because I think I'd rather kill the Hall than the Shark here. Who's a good boy? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Dig Through Time is so much better than Treasure Cruise. It's not even close. Like, not only is there the instant speed factor, but, like, the best 2 out of your top 7 is so much better in a control deck than just 3. And then there's the fact that you could Torrential Gear Hulk Dig Through Time back, and you can't Torrential Gear Hulk back Treasure Cruise. They have enough mana to activate Hall of the Storm Giants still, so we're done. That is probably what we can concede at this point. I think we're far enough gone. We got pretty hosed. Their Cry of the Canarium was very, very good. If we'd have Angel fired that turn to beat that, Cry will be something we think about in this game. If Cry had been on our radar, I think we probably win this because we would have had a 3/3 that wouldn't have died to it. We have a little bit of audio here at the start of the match, you know, as a treat. All right, do I want to protect this or this? I think I want to protect this more. Our start's pretty good here. Plays around Cry of the Canarium quite well. This might just be a white source pass, huh? Just like chill on these 2 threats? So, with the other gods rolling drawn, I think this is a land. Soul Shedder, and they were holding up. They were holding up a counter spell there because they took 3 rather than do that inside of combat. I go for lethal here. Not really expecting this to work, but just like got by another Soul Shedder. No threat on top of my deck, thank you. Wow, actually just did. Good stuff. Good stuff. I know it hasn't been that long since we looked at my ugly face, but the lack of sounds, chat, they make me sad. This deck list against control feels very much how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? Yes. This is an accurate summary. Alright, we're gonna do a couple more with this, and then we're gonna flip over to doing some Snap for the last couple hours. Thanks everybody for hanging out. If you're into Magic stuff, be sure to check out my YouTube channel as well. All the decks that we stream each day get posted up there. There's playlists for all of the constructed formats that we play, mostly Historic and Explorer, but also a little bit of Standard and Alchemy here and there as well, depending on how those formats are feeling. This hand's lovely. Doggo Virtuoso Tajic here. Very strong 1, 2, 3 if we can find a 3rd land in our first 2 draws. Lovely, just like we drew it up. So Tajic has Mentor, so he'll get to put a 1/1 counter on the Virtuoso, letting it slam nice and lovely there. And this is Explorer that we're playing, not Historic, so I don't have to worry about getting Divine Purge next turn. And if they play like red land Deafening Clarion, Tajic actually insulates us from red sweepers. He prevents non-combat damage to my other things. So a Clarion next turn would actually only kill my Savior. What's going on, Leaves? Thanks for re-upping that Prime. Wouldn't be able to be without folks like you. Appreciate you keeping me around. I could channel this because of Tajic, but I think I'd rather hold up God's Willing here in case they have an exile spell for my Virtuoso. Don't tell Scotty, chat. Scotty doesn't know. I love the long pause there. Wait, Hold on. Hold on. Speaking of pauses, this is lethal. Okay, hold on. Hold, please. Normally I feel a little bit bad when stuff like that happens, but my opponent's playing blue-white controls, they can bugger off. Zero sympathy for the blue-white control players of the world. Shit. They get what they deserve. My opponent seemed a little bit green, so protection from green seemed like the appropriate color to pick there. I was skeptical of this deck when we started, but now I'm a believer and I couldn't leave her if I tried. I know. I'm glad I poked this. This is a good suggestion. Shout out to Merrick for shipping the starting core over. Double strikers into 3 mana ways to power them up, and 1 mana ways too. Kumano was a suggestion from someone else in chat. Was a A+ suggestion. This card's been absurd throughout this set. Psionic. The bot taking a nap? It might be. My Twitch chat reset a little bit ago. I wonder if it's having some issues. This looks like relatively wildcard friendly too, right? Are there any mythics in this deck? Huh. This is like a really good budget deck, huh? Like, obviously, lands aside, you can't play Magic Arena if you don't have lands. There's a lot of uncommons in here too. Yeah, 0 mythics in the main deck and mostly uncommons. Zero mythics in the 75? Yeah, 0 mythics in the 75. So, I think with the card being foretold here, I was going to Tajic here, but because they foretold a card that could be Doomscar, I'm going to Selfless Savior plus Virtuoso. Well, chat, if they settle my wreckage, we had a good run. Just a Shark Typhoon, deal. Alright, so we'll play second Doggo, we'll shock this in, we'll draw the Wellspring. Yeah, different results.
Trust me, you'll thank me later.
Now I get to find out if this is a counter spell instead of a sweeper. Could be. Okay, so probably a sweeper. We'll know after this turn if this is a sweeper, because if it was if it's a draw, if it was a counter spell, it would have gotten used here. If it's a draw spell, it'll get used at end of turn. I'm just letting Tajic die, because I want the Selfless Savior to be able to protect from this Doomscar. That feels like it's here. Yeah. Good.
I suppose that's how it was meant to happen.
Stromina coming in clutch against the Censor. You can't break Jeffrey's voice lines yet. How else would he haunt my dreams? Fifth land means Den of the Bugbear is online. Even this interaction, it just feels super powerful. Like Angelfire Ignition's been really impressive with these 2 drops, but Tajic too. Just the mentor, letting them crack for a +2. It's been real great. What's going on, Matt? It's almost 3.5 years. Welcome back. "41 months, the amount of time it will take me to unlock Magneto." Hopefully we find out what their changes are here soon. They said they've got changes coming. We're stopped at my upkeep. What are you doing at my upkeep? I'm not firing up the Den of the Bugbear because I think I can afford to play around Settle the Wreckage by not doing it. They said people are gonna like the changes, dress, so I don't think they're gonna be quite that tone deaf. Hey, Bataro, thanks for hooking up that Prime. I really appreciate it. Wouldn't be able to be without folks like you. Thanks for shipping your Bezo bucks this month. All right, we're 1 match off of Mythic. I was gonna say that's the last one because the audio is broken again, but I'm gonna give our deck a chance to get us to Mythic. This one's in a good run today. You say when the changes are coming. Yeah, this week. Nexus. We're supposed to get our first Nexus event this week, as well as changes to the endgame progression for Snap. I recommend for Explorer to grind the ladder. Probably something with Greasefang in it. If your goal is just as many ladder points as quickly as possible, Greasefang's a pretty good choice. Snap doesn't really have a meta for a variety of reasons. The card acquisition system is one of it, but also they're just like, aren't a ton of people playing because it's currently just in closed beta. Is another. I've already infinity split my Greasefang, God bless. So, by design for Phyrexian Raver, everyone under rank 30 on the ladder plays into bots only. Because that's where they add cubes into the system, basically. Otherwise the cube system is zero-sum. Alright, another control matchup as our gatekeeper here. Oh, did the raid devs finally add bots? Well, I guess they added them at all points into their thing, right? At one point. I think I'm into Aspirant here. Terrifying.
Run away. You'll be safe.
Ha! Swiftblade Vindicator is pretty good into Wandering Emperor, huh? I do not have an audio echo here. If you're getting an echo, try and make sure you don't have my stream open twice.
I'll be back.
I don't know that we're in a position to beat Agent of Treachery this turn, unfortunately.
Those who cannot perceive beyond the veil of
I have Jeff's stream opened 8 times. It sounds like God is talking directly to me. I believe that means you're not qualified to run for a position in the Republican Party, Jen. So they can draw this if they want. They can also activate Castle. We're gonna get a 2/2. Swiftblade Vindicator has Trample Double Strike, so it'll get to KO Narset here through the blocker, which is nice.
Just wait a moment. I was not prepared for this.
Oh, the arena sounds are being doubled in a weird way. Yeah, sometimes Twitch has this weird encoding issue. Refresh your browser. Yeah, if it's there's some weird thing that Twitch encoding does where only the game sounds will get messed up, and then it's a Twitch thing. Alright, shit.
I know my responsibility.
See, this is Magic Arena teaching me a lesson, chat. I said to myself before we clicked play one more time, well, we're close to Mythic. I might as well play one more. And Magic Arena's like, no, trust me, Jeff, you really didn't want to play one more. Have some Jeskai control. Dragonfire hits a Planeswalker. Yeah, but spending removal spells on Planeswalkers is not a game-winning strategy for our deck. If we're gonna win a matchup like this, it's gonna be by attacking a bunch, not by interacting with their Planeswalkers like that. We might occasionally attack a Planeswalker, but I definitely don't want purely reactive cards in my deck. Quit while you're ahead, the Magic Arena story. Nice. The mana bases felt really good in this deck. Having fast lands and a couple of slow lands has been really, really great. I really hope they put the other 5 fast lands into Pioneer and Explorer sooner rather than later. I really hate incomplete land cycles. They suck. Crack them for 8 here. Now, one thing that's nice is we have God's Willing can insulate us against an Agent of Treachery next turn. Well, unfortunately, Blue-Black Rogues is probably going to be unplayable in this format after the Anthology this summer. Because I would be shocked if we don't get Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time in the Anthology. Those two things are going to make, are going to make Rogues real miserable. Oh yeah, Supreme Verdict is gonna make it unplayable too. It's one like decent matchup. It's gonna be real bad. So if they have Shatter the Sky here, playing out Vindicator wasn't amazing, but they're more likely to have a way to put an agent into play, and being wide against an agent I think is ideal. All right, we had a 1-2-3 curve on the play and we killed them. Now we have to try and win a really hard game on the draw. Doggo on 1, I think, is one of our best things we could be doing in this matchup. It allows us to go wide without having to worry about sweepers a ton. Yeah, I really hope, I hope Taylor is in the summer card release too. Monastery. Oh my gosh, my brain is bad. That's fine. They're probably gonna kill this anyways, he says, before they play Omen of the Sea. It's a huge mistake, chat. Oh, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. We're talking and clicking at the same time. We're talking about Monastery, Swift Spear, and we missed a tokener. I'm just gonna add up to 1 missed damage for return for the rest of the game. Hey, Gazi, thank you for the 5 months. Welcome back. Appreciate it. Okay, I'll play this one pre-combat this time. I put both the counters on this one, so that way, if they wrath us next turn, we can save these 2 and keep the counters. Although I guess putting all the counters on here is worse when they Agent of Treachery me. 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. See which one we get got by first. Never wanted to bend Shadow the Sky so badly in my life. And I think, thankfully our mistake just didn't matter here, but I don't think we can come back from this point because they get to draw Yorion and then blink Agent of Treachery and take another thing next turn too, so it's time to Marvel Snap, chat. I think this matchup's probably just pretty rancid for us on the draw. You gotta hope your stuff lines up, and sometimes they have Shatter and you have Dogs. Sometimes they have Agent, we have Dogs. It just doesn't work out. That's fine. We'll hit Mythic later this week at some point. overall, I clicked on the wrong deck. Overall, I was really impressed with this deck. I think the ability to linear people with our double strikers into both Angelfire and Tajic felt really good. The mix of protection felt reasonable. Being able to trample with the anger felt good. Kumano and Selfless Savior felt really good as far as 1-drop goes. So, yeah, for sure.